Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Jungle Cup. The Jungle Cup going to be available for 2 weeks now in Pokemon Go. So let's check out some teams. We're going to take a look at the meta and let's move right into it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you enjoy those videos, feel free to subscribe. Would really appreciate it. We're getting close to the 75,000 subscribers. And so let's move right on to the meta. We're going to see here real quick before we start going directly into the meta. We're going to see here what's currently available. 1500 ZP. It's going to be normal types, grass types, electric types, poison types, ground types, flying types, bug types, and dark types. So quite a lot of types are going to be available. Basically half of the types are actually available anyway. But certain Pokemon not going to be available here. For example, something like an Azumarill you're not going to see. But still, especially with the ground typing being available, quite a lot of Pokemon that you see from the normal meta is going to be there as well. But 2 are not allowed, and those are going to be Gligar as well as Galarian Stunfisk. So let's move right into the meta. Taking a look at the actual meta of this cup, you're going to see Steelix as a number 1 pick, which I doubt it's going to be because Vigoroth exists, and Vigoroth is going to be one of the best answers, and Vigoroth is going to be on every team, which you're going to see in the top teams now anyway. But yeah, otherwise you're going to see Pokemon like Skarmory going to be great, but we're still going to have a lot of Mudboys. Can you actually search for this? Most likely not, right? Oh, you cannot search for a Mudboy anymore. But you have like some ground Pokemon here, which is going to be a little bit tricky for you. So you're going to have like something like a Swampert, like a Quagsire, like a Whiscash available. All those Pokemon are going to be great, especially together with the Skarmory. So Skarmory will definitely be a great Pokemon to use. Clodsire, very cool here as well. We're going to have one team with that. A Bummersnow going to be a very solid Pokemon for this meta, even though Vigoroth exists. Going to be very good. We're going to take a look at some teams with this Pokemon later on as well here. Stunfisk, very interesting. The Galarian form, as you just saw, is not available for you, but this one still is. Gastrodon can be okay. I feel like other Dragon types are going to be a little bit better because Gastrodon is a Dragon type that is weak to counter, which is not really ideal in the Vigoroth meta, so I feel like Altaria is going to be, for example, better, even though, of course, they have super effective Rock Slide for you, or the Dragonite here. There are some sleeper picks as well, which we're going to talk about as well, like Dragalge. Lantern is still available here. Talonflame looks very, very solid. Charjabug, we still have a team with that as well. Umbreon looks really decent. There are quite a lot of Pokemon that can do something, but the meta going to be very stale and slim, most likely. Whimsicott going to be a team coming up as well, which is going to be interesting. But yeah, still a lot of Pokemon that have some play, not a lot of XL, which is kind of nice. So like the meta is going to be kind of fast, I would imagine, even though we have Steelix, Skarmory. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Let's move right into the teams. So, moving on with team number 1 here, we're going to have, as you might expect, quite a lot of Vigoroth here today. Vigoroth lead is going to be an interesting thing to do as well. There might be even a different moveset that might be interesting for this meta as well, which you might take a look at this channel here as well. But we're going to have a team here with the Vigoroth in the lead, the Mandibuzz as your Sasop, and the Dragonite in the back. Why would you do this? Because Steel types are still a thing here with like something like a Steelix where Vigoroth can still deal with it. Mandibuzz is going to be a great Sasop to get out potential answers to flying type Pokemon in general, like a Lantern, which is still available, very sadly here, which you see a little bit further downstairs. Exactly. But you're going to see here in general how this team kind of functions. Quite a lot of matchups that look like a little bit tricky, but they're still kind of fine. Altaria, you still have Rock Slide on your Vigoroth, it's still neutral for your Dragonite, it's still neutral for the Mandibuzz. The Clodsire is still kind of neutral for all Pokemon as well. Clodsire might be actually the worst Pokemon you can encounter though. Skarmory going to be neutral for your lead as well as your Mandibuzz, so like, it's not going to be bad matchups in general. This team is going to be very easy to play, and I think it's going to be a very good team to play right now in the meta as well. So let's move on to team number 2. Moving on, going to be a different kind of playstyle, and we don't even have a Vigoroth here, even though you can basically put Vigoroth in every kind of position that you want to. It is always going to be great. We're going to have a team here that's going to function a little bit differently. We're going to have the Shadow Steelix in the lead. The normal variant works out as well if you want to use that one, but basically, what you want to do, if you have a neutral lead, try to stay in, try to align yourself. If you have a bad lead, go into your Quagsire. But basically, the best scenario that you can have is it's going to be a neutral lead that is going to be something that you can win in a certain scenario. Like, the cool thing about the Steelix is that with Psychic Fangs and Dragon Tail plus the Shadow bonus plus the bulk that you have, a lot of the matchups that you're going to win are going to be in the 2-shit scenario, but you can just basically align your Pokemon later on. And if you can align your Pokemon, you're kind of golden, because you have in the back here the Altaria as well as a Quagsire / the Whiscash, and those basically have a perfect core together. The thing is, one Pokemon that might be a little bit of a trickier one is Abomasnow. You win against Abomasnow, I think, in the 2-shield scenario if it's in the lead with your Steelix, so just stay in. Otherwise, if there are going to be more Abomasnow than you kind of want with this team, go for Pelipper. Pelipper can still kind of deal with it, definitely way better than Altaria can, and so this would fix the problem at least a little bit here. But this team looks like great on paper. I think Abomasnow has a lot of play. We have some teams with that coming up as well. So let's move right on to team number 3. Team number 3 here, need to click twice. Going to be a double water line, a kinda standout one here anyway. We have this Haze-Up as well as an option, was Surprise, Vigoroth, or Double. Double kinda like a cheaper Vigoroth that is not as great as Vigoroth, but still has some, I mean, it has some play, I guess. But maybe actually for Double, you might want to run Wild Charge, not too sure. Like, I think it's worth Payback in there, but I feel like Wild Charge has at least some potential because there are quite a lot of Water-type Pokemon still available. Usually there are, of course, type Ground as well, but you have Skarmory, for example, where Wild Charge would be kind of great. But anyway, we're going to have a team here that I would expect that we're going to see quite often. Skarmory, Double Water seems to be very busted in this meta. You can, of course, substitute your Water type as a Haze-Orb with a Vigoroth, which makes it even stronger. But, yeah, this core is just broken. Like, this core is really good in this meta, even better than in the Open Great League. So, I would imagine that we're going to see this quite often. Of course, for the Steelix, we have 2 answers in the back. For the Skarmory itself, you're kind of neutral with everything. This team looks basically the perfect team that you can run right now. If you want to run this, go for it, but it's definitely a lame one, but it's a very, very solid one to play, and I guess, like, this is, like, the thing for the videos here as well. Like, yes, I kind of want to have a little bit of different teams around here, but they should be still very playable, and this is most likely one of the best teams that you can use for this cup, but we can move on to team number 4. Klot's plan here, we're going to have Clodsire, one of the coolest Pokemon as well, very highly ranked. Clodsire is going to be a very interesting Pokemon for this meta. Having Mudshot, Earthquake as well as Stone Edge is going to be great for you. We're going to have the Skarmory, which can be a little bit tricky here, but again, you're still going to be kind of neutral with most Pokemon. If you're really scared about Skarmory, you can go for Greninja in the back, which is usually a positive matchup for Greninja. Vigoroth is going to be the greatest Haze-Up that you can have here. Yes, Lickitung is available, but while Lickitung would be great for this team, it's a Vigoroth meta. Like, if you Haze up your Lickitung, you're gonna go up against the Vigoroth, you're going to have a little bit of a problem, I would say, so it's going to be a little bit tricky, but Clodsire, very cool Pokemon, very great call with like Abomasnow. Vigoroth as a Haze-Up is definitely working out pretty well as well. Skarmory can be a little bit of an issue, but still this team should work out pretty well. Again, if you want to have something better against Skarmory, go for either Greninja. You can even go ahead and go for your Lantern if you really want to completely destroy Skarmory, but we can move on to the next team. By the way, with Lantern, you would be a little bit, like, having a little bit more of a difficult time against those Mud Boys, though, so maybe don't go for Lantern. Otherwise, we're going to have here the next team, team number 5, a Double Counter. Double Counter is going to be a strategy that we see quite often in those special cups, and so we're going to have it here again. Sometimes you even see Triple Counter. I don't know if Triple Counter is as great, a lot of Flying-type Pokemon around, but we're going to have here the Manta, and we're going to have the Vigoroth, we're going to have the Scrafty or the Obstagoon in the back. This is going to be also a very, very good team to play. If you're scared of, like, Clodsire and Skarmory, go for the Pelipper over Mantine. This is going to help you out with those matchup quite a bit. But of course, Mantine is going to be better against Pokemon like Altaria, so you're not going to be able to do everything with this team. Like, you're basically always going to have like one kind of hole with this, which is either going to be a Skarmory or it's going to be the Altaria. Choose your poison. I guess Altaria is still dealable though, especially if you're going to go for the Obstagoon over the Scrafty, as you're not going to have the weakness against the flying typing. I think it's going to be a little bit better for you, but yeah, again, like, it really depends on what you want to do here. Quite some different options. You can also go ahead and put the Double in the back and then you have a great time as well, but we can move on to team number 6, Fire. Fire is actually quite decent here, even though we have quite a lot of Water-type Pokemon. We also have quite a lot of Pokemon that are especially going to go for like Counter as a fast move, which is great for Talonflame, as you're going to be able to resist it. It's great for another Pokemon, which you're going to take a look at after this team, which is also going to be able to resist it. But here for this one, Incinerate being buffed is going to be great. Like, it doesn't look that great on paper, but you destroy Skarmory, you destroy Steelix, you have a lot of play against a lot of Pokemon in this meta, and Talonflame in the 2-shield scenario is kind of wild. Umbreon actually is really good as well. What you could do as well is you can go ahead and go for Talonflame lead, say stop of Vigoroth, and Umbreon in the back would also work out pretty well. Dragalge, very interesting Pokemon though in this meta, as it's going to be able to resist Counter, and with this kind of being decent against Vigoroth. It's not the craziest matchup either, but at least has some play. Basically, I was running the Talonflame, Vigoroth, and the Ferrothorn line quite often back in the day. Still a very solid line here as well for this meta. So definitely a solid one, but let's move on to the next fire type. Salazzle. Salazzle is available, and Salazzle is actually looking kinda nice. We're going to have an interesting team here. You can also play it lame again and go for Vigoroth as a say swap, but that's up to you. But Salazzle plus a Abomasnow core is basically perfect. You should be able to win against Vigoroth, I think, in the 2-shield scenario with your Salazzle, as you do a ton of damage with your charge and fast move. Plus, you win CMP tie against it for sure, so I think you're going to be fine. But otherwise, we have Steelix as your say swap here for this team, as Steelix still can actually deal, especially the Shadow variant, which I would recommend you if you have, can still deal with those Mud Boys kinda easily, with like a lot of the water types right now, because like a lot of them don't really do like crazy water type damage, and Steelix is usually, especially at a Shadow still, easily able to survive one charge move of them, but usually not able to survive 2 charge moves. Usually does around like 60%, so the Shadow variant I feel like is going to be a great call. But if you encounter Quagsire in the lead, it might be a little bit tricky because Awkward Tail is coming through like so fast. But otherwise, go just for Vigoroth if you want to, because Vigoroth is going to be the safer play, but it's very lame. So let's move on to team number 8. Whimsicott. Whimsicott is actually going to have a great time here in this meta, because having the typing of Grass plus Fairy is actually fairly decent, I have to say. The cool thing here is that the Fairy typing is going to allow you to double resist the Steelix fast move of Dragon Tail, which is going to be great. But also you're going to be able to resist counter. You still have play against Mandibuzz. You still have play against a lot of Pokemon that are going to be weak against Grass, which are quite a few, as you can see here. And so I feel like Whimsicott is going to be one of the sleeper picks of this kind of meta. Again, if you want to be lame, go for Vigoroth as a say swap. If you want to have a little bit more fun, go for Charizard. Charizard actually has quite a lot of play against most of the water type Pokemon, especially Energy Up, which is kind of cool, as well as you're going to have a great time still against some of the Dragon type Pokemon. So the combination of Whimsicott and Charizard is kind of cool. I might take a look at this as well on my channel, but we have to see about this. Still very solid line. I would really recommend you to try it out. Of course, kind of getting destroyed by Skarmory Double Water, but it is what it is. You can't have them all. Team number 9. The fish is still here. We didn't have a team yet with a fish, so I had to basically make a team with a fish here. So we're going to have the Lantern. Lantern together with a Abomasnow or Chestnut looks kind of amazing in this meta. I have to say, like, it looks kind of overpowered. Vigoroth as a say-swap. What a surprise. What a strong one there. But basically, your goal is to try to have the Lantern as a lead, which destroys something like flying types, like Mandibuzz, like the Skarmory especially, but just has like a lot of very positive matchups for you. Try to bait out whatever is going to be, baiting out from the Vigoroth here, which is usually something that's good against Abomasnow, which you see here as well, and then try to sweep with Abomasnow in the back. For example, you have Mantine in the lead, which is going to be a matchup that Abomasnow loses. You swap out to your Vigoroth, they usually swap into you, you still have coverage with Rock Slide. So, basically, you can kind of get rid of most of the answers of the Abomasnow with this, and I feel like this team is going to be kind of overpowered, so definitely something I'm looking forward to as well. Mostly one of the best teams with the Abomasnow. Shadow variant also kind of works out pretty well for Abomasnow, but let's move on to the final team for today. I talk way too much today, but it is hopefully okay for you. Let's move on to team number 10. Team number 10 is going to be around the Stunfisk. The Stunfish? It's a fish. Stunfisk. Stunfisk is going to be available here, while the Galarian is banned, the normal one is not banned, and this is going to be interesting, as Mudbomb got buffed like 12 seasons ago, barely. I think it's like 3 seasons ago, but you're going to be able to destroy most of the meta Pokemon. Look at this, you can destroy Steelix, you can destroy Skarmory, you're going to destroy Clodsire, you're going to destroy Vigoroth. And I feel like most of the Pokemon that you can destroy are usually leads, and so I feel like this Pokemon has a lot of potential as a lead. Look at our say swap, it's amazing. I know, like, if you don't have a Vigoroth build yet, do it. It's going to be basically everywhere anyway, and you kind of want to join them because they cannot really beat them. But Dragonite is in the back going to be also kind of great. The thing is, there is actually quite some Pokemon at least that can really beat Vigoroth, which I'm also going to showcase on my channel, so feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. That's going to be it for this video. I hope I see you then. Bye bye.